Hello and welcome back. I hope you are well. Today we're going to tie a nymph, and it's a nymph that can be used just about any time of the year in different sizes. And in Spain they would call it a nympha toda la vida. It's something that is always there and it's really worth having in your box. So in the vise I have a size 14 light nymph hook and a 3.3 copper bead, and I'm tying with 10/0 olive thread. So I'm just going to mount the bead. Now this nymph is very versatile. You can use it on the point, probably in a 14 or even a 16, but certainly as a dropper as well as a 16. I like to use a natural nymph on my dropper if I can, depending on my style of fishing. Maybe with a perdigon below on the point. So just having tied that in, I'll get rid of the excess. For the tail I'm going to use some fibres from a standard cock hackle, and I'm just going to pull some off. Tear them out at about 90 degrees and pull them off the stem and tie them in. It's a little bit long, so I'm going to shorten that up, something like that. And tie down to the rear of the hook shank and trim up the excess fibres. Right, this does have a rib. I'm using copper wire. It's a fine copper wire. Relatively fine anyway, it's a 0.18. So I'm just going to break a piece off and tie it in at the rear. Wind it down along the hook shank, up to the bead and back down again. Right, for the body, I'm using standard olive hare's ear. This has always proved quite successful because it's quite coarse. I'm just going to dub this on. Coarse hare's ears are not always easy to manipulate when you're winding them on. Try and keep it tight. And wind on up the body. Put on just a smidgen more up to the bead. Like so. And wind on the copper rib. Open wraps up the body. Up to the bead and tie off the copper rib. Should helicopter off. Before I put on the collar, I'm just going to brush this out a little. Because this nymph is really about some movement as well. Now for the collar I'm going to use a CDC feather. Just going to pull back the fibres, holding on to the point. Like so. And tie in the point. And wind on the feather. Just one wrap should be enough. Tie off and trim up stem. And I'm just going to add a little more hare's ear in front of the collar. Like so. I'll add some glue to my thread and tie it up. And trim up the tying thread. Now I'm just going to trim up that point from the CDC. And give it another brush out, including the CDC. It won't harm it. And there you have the finished olive hare's ear nymph. As I said, it's one of those flies that you can put on and really make a difference, whether it's on the point or on the dropper. It's a simple nymph, and certainly has been around for a long, long while. Equally successful for rainbows and for browns. Get some in your box. Share it if you wish, and do become a subscriber if you're not already a subscriber, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.